この第二の世において最大最強の我が公的主義最上の敬意をもってこの一撃を捧げ。
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 30 anime fight scenes of the 21st century thus far. Number 30, Natsu vs Sting and Rogue. Fairy Tail. The Grand Magic Games in this show has plenty of exciting fights. Indeed, this one begins as a 2 vs 2 with Gajeel and Natsu matched against their fellow Dragon Slayers from the Sabertooth Guild, Sting and Rogue. However, to get back at their cocky opponents, Natsu sends Gajeel off alone and decides to solo the duo himself.
完全じゃなかったんじゃねえのか。
Despite Sting and Rogue entering the powerful Dragon Force states and throwing their most powerful combo attacks at him, Natsu easily overcomes it all. After seeing Sabertooth look down on Fairy Tail, watching Natsu flex all over two of their strongest fighters for minutes is incredibly satisfying. Number 29, Boshi vs Boss. Ranking of Kings. Boshi is the adorable prince protagonist of this show. Initially, his deaf/mute status had few people believing in him. However, by the time his literal giant dad Boss has possessed his brother Daida, everyone is behind Boji. When Boss's former retainers refuse to follow him, Boji fights to protect them. Faced with the image of his titanic father, the young prince dodges his immensely powerful blows, all while whittling down his club until it's mere splinters. The incredibly fluid animation, as well as Boji triumphing against all odds, makes this a stirring and exciting, if rather short, fight. Number 28, Dai vs Vern. Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. As the final conflict of Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai, Dai and Vern's confrontation has the weight of the entire series behind it. The young hero and the Dark King's clash spans multiple episodes and sees both combatants go through multiple power-ups, use several ultimate moves, and their combat even takes them to outer space. Finally, Dai uses his sword to slice Vern in two, defeating the villain and triumphing at what he set out to do. It's a classic shonen final battle, and it's executed nearly to perfection. Number 27, Eva 01 vs Zeruel. Evangelion 2.0, you can not advance. When Rei is consumed by the titanic angel Zeruel, Shinji decides to be brave, for a change, and rushes to defeat the angel and rescue her. Despite his impressive resolve and some even more impressive animation, Shinji's Eva unit runs out of power, at least until the enormous mecha responds to Shinji's anger and goes berserk. It manages to overpower the angel, allowing Shinji to reach inside to rescue Rei. And sure, the result of the fight may be the apocalyptic third impact, potentially dooming the world, but hey, at least it was a cool fight. Number 26, Beoli vs Vector. Sword Art Online Alicization. Turns out, even without the OP hero, SAO can deliver a pretty awesome fight. Beoli chases down Emperor Vector on Dragonback. After cutting down Vector's ride, he engages him in a furious duel. Even losing an arm isn't enough to stop the Integrity Knight. However, Vector's ability to halt Beoli in place proves overwhelming.
何か狙っているな。
The grizzled badass's only chance is to use his sword, which can cut the past, to end Vector before the fight even began. The hero may meet his end here, but this electrifying fight is one hell of a send-off.
来てやったぜ、お前の過去。
Number 25, Regg, Rico, and Nanachi vs. Bondrude. Made in Abyss, Dawn of the Deep Soul. This franchise is a strange mix of nightmare fuel and enchanting adventure, and this fight exemplifies that perfectly. Young adventurers Regg, Rico, and Nanachi face off against the vile, despicable, well, we don't have enough words to describe how terrible Bondrude is. Dude shields himself from the abyss with children, including his own daughter. Thankfully, as Regg holds off the gradually mutating Bondrude with his incinerator, Rico and Nanachi devise a scheme to defeat the creep. The soaring score, rapid movements, and one of anime's most hateable villains getting blown in half help make this a fight we love deep in our soul. Number 24, Araragi vs. Kiss Shots. Kizumonogatari, Part 3, Reikets.
でくれ、我が主人。
In terms of pure insanity, few fights can match this one. Koyomi Araragi faces his vampiric sire, Kiss Shot Acerola Orion Heart and a Blade, in the hopes of stopping her, and therefore him, from feeding on any people. The pair of them can regenerate from any wounds, so the fight is violent to an absurd degree, with heads being blown off, torsos reattaching backwards, and all manner of ridiculous bloody action. It's completely bonkers throughout, but the animators go for broke. Number 23, Shinra vs. Sho, Fire Force. Brothers often fight each other in anime or otherwise, but Shinra's attempt to reconnect with his brainwashed little bro is unlike any battle between siblings. Sho's ability to stop time allows him to effectively beat the stuffing, though not the smile, out of Shinra. Shinra's attempts to go faster ultimately take him past the speed of light, effectively letting him catch up to Sho's time stop or surpass it. He can't keep it up for long though. Thankfully, some shared memories leave Sho and us in tears. Full of emotion and blinding speed, this battle of brothers gives us the feels like a sword through the chest. Too soon? Number 22, Ryoko vs. Satsuki, Kill la Kill.
Way before these sisters were battling it out against their mother, they were trying to hack each other to pieces. Both armed with their respective kamui, Ryoko and Satsuki ditch their embarrassment and break out their blades for a showdown that could only come from the minds of Trigger, each ripping up the academy as their life fiber synchronization continues to expand. Combine it with its booming soundtrack and this mini calamity is a delight to watch, especially as Ryoko comes into her groove and holds her own against Satsuki.
Number 21, Mob vs. Suzuki, Mob Psycho 100. This series is loaded with jaw-dropping, well-animated fights. However, the climactic battle of Season 2 is our pick. Mob faces off against Suzuki, head of an organization of psychics hell-bent on world domination. Mob, the empathetic cinnamon bun that he is, tries to change Suzuki's mind to no avail. The two powerful psychics fly above their city, blowing through each other's barriers and even using skyscrapers like projectiles.
ごめん
However, as Suzuki's power increases, it becomes too much for him to handle. Mob makes a sacrifice play, though the result is less explosive, as it is vegetative. Regardless, this is Mob going all out to fight on for his friends, and we love it.
僕だって気持ちを伝えたい人がいるんだ
Number 20, Baki vs Yujiro. Baki Hanma. There are father-son fights, and then there's this. Nearly the entire Baki franchise builds to this moment, and it doesn't disappoint. A simple dinner between Baki and Yujiro escalates into an epic brawl. The restaurant is half destroyed, cars are totaled, and it's all witnessed by a crowd of people, including a caveman and a ghost. Father and son throw every punch, kick, and crazy technique they can at their own flesh and blood. The last of these include Baki imitating a triceratops and wetting his pants, and Yujiro treating his son like nunchucks. It's at once a knockdown brawl full of resentment and a moment of understanding between father and son. Plus, it's topped with a bowl of imaginary soup. Baki is so gloriously weird. Number 19, Everyone vs. Father. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
He went from dwarf in the flask all the way to the being that swallowed the embodiment of God, with all the perks that come with it. While his newfound immortality was instantly nerfed by the Elric boys, the father of the homunculus was still very much a threat, one capable of being able to hold his own against all of Central and pretty much every one of Ed's allies. It took the sacrifices of both Alphonse and Greed to give Ed the chance he needed to go all out and smash apart Father's physical body before cracking his Philosopher's Stone and sending the sinful blob back into the jaws of the Gate of Truth.
Number 18, Escanor vs. Esterosa. The 7 Deadly Sins.
Just in case the Lion Sin of Pride's introduction left you in any doubts that Escanor is the MVP of the fantasy anime scene, then this battle against the Ten Commandments all but cements it.
あの人なんで一人だけ動けんだよあの人は7つの大罪最強の男
Despite Esterosa being able to heal himself with darkness, immobilize anyone who feels any kind of hatred towards him, and is capable of reflecting any physical attack back at his foe with twice the force, he still falls under the magnificence of Escanor's unshakable belief in himself, and as such gets a miniature sun right to the face.
Number 17, Kamogawa vs. Anderson. Hajime no Ippo.
Ippo and Takamura may have their shining moments as boxers, but even their triumphs pale when compared to the unrelenting brutality of their mentor, who in his youth was forced to battle it out in the ring with a prejudiced American soldier, who had every intention of adding a little fatality to his victory. In response, Kamogawa trained his fists to the point of permanent damage, but in doing so, allowed him to deliver punches of such magnitude that he didn't so much break Anderson's body as he did shatter his spirit with only 2 blows. It's so visceral that it's almost beautiful.
Number 16, Yuji vs. Choso. Jujutsu Kaisen. This series has a lot of fantastic fights, but we'd argue that Yuji Itadori's fight against Choso is its very best so far. Choso is determined to get revenge on Yuji for killing his brothers and confronts the protagonist in a subway station. The hero has trouble with Choso's long-range blood projectiles and so lures him into a nearby bathroom. The sprinkler-soaked bathroom brings the action back to hand. The intense close-quarters contest pushes the choreography and animation to their absolute limits. Yuji may not win the fight, but the battle itself is a victory for anyone watching it. Number 15, Demon Slayers vs Ducky and Gyutaro. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Tanjiro and his fellow Demon Slayers' mission to defeat the upper-ranked demon in the Entertainment District is complicated when it turns out to not be one demon, but two siblings. The protracted battle between them all is filled with standout moments. Everyone gets their moment to shine, from Zenitsu's Godspeed, to Nezuko going berserk, to Uzui's flashy comeback, to the final epic strike that ends Ducky and Gyutaro for good. Filled with rapid-fire attacks and movement that takes them from the rooftops to the streets and back again, this jaw-dropping beautiful fight goes all out and leaves us breathless. Number 14, Kiritsugu vs Kotomine. Fate Zero.
One is a hired gun who will kill anyone if it means becoming a champion of justice and freeing the world from conflict. The other is a lethal executioner who will kill everyone just for the chance of finding a new purpose in life. Put them in the same room together, and what do you get? A battle of such intensity that it puts all servants and their noble phantasms to shame. Between Kiritsugu's accelerated reaction time and gunplay, trading blows against Kotomine's infinite supply of blades and inhuman reflexes, it's a miracle either one of them walked away from this alive.
Number 13, Aster and Yuno vs Licht. Black Clover.
In spite of all the magic knights, elves, and devils, there's only one aerial assault that continues to hover above the rest as one of the greatest magical battles of the series, if not the genre. And wouldn't you know it, it features both Aster and Yuno working in tandem. As the body of the half-awakened Licht goes on the attack, it falls to the Clover Kingdom's most iconic rivals to push him back. Yuno with his spirit dive and mastery of mana, along with Aster in his black form and unshakable determination. It's fast, it's furious, and just another reason why this series stands tall as one of Shonen's best.
Number 12, Gintoki vs Takasugi. Gintama.
When odd jobs Gin fall out with one another, it's hilarious. When the former students of Yoshida Shoyo fall out, it's a literal bloodbath. With the life of the Shogun hanging in the balance, the White Demon and the Black Beast let their inner savages out of the bag and proceed to nearly tear each other apart with their signature weapons. You haven't seen punishment until you watch Gintoki take a broken blade to the shoulder while simultaneously slashing with enough force to break Takasugi's entire torso with just a wooden sword.
Number 11, Atsushi and Akutagawa vs Francis. Bungo Stray Dogs.
Nothing brings hated foes together quite like the threat of a crazy capitalist with superpowers.
君たちは実に似た者同士だ。
やつと一緒に
While the Were-Tiger and the Vessel of Rashomon would love nothing more than to rip each other a new asshole, Francis F., in his plan to flatten their city, forced the ultimate act of cooperation, leading them to combine their abilities and let loose one hell of a tag team against the leader of the guild aboard the flying whale fortress that is Moby Dick. Turns out that all the money in the world has got nothing on a defiant orphan with one hell of a fluffy punch.
Number 10, Ichigo vs Ukiura, Bleach.
Sometimes to kill a monster, you've got to become one yourself. In spite of his victory over Grimmjow, Ichigo is woefully unprepared for the likes of the Fourth Espada, and that's even before he accesses his resurrection.
You will understand.
You'd think after getting beaten within a blink, as well as a gaping hole blasted into his chest, that would be the end of the strawberry. At least until Orahime's desperate cries and his own inner hollow bring him back. Now taking on a much more fearsome guise, with little room for anything other than destruction. It's a comeback that's so devastating that you almost feel sorry for the Batman as he gets wrecked.
Number 9, All Might vs All for One, My Hero Academia.
Ever wondered what it would look like if the OGs of the Silver Age of heroes and villains clashed? Might look something like this.
全てを返してもらうぞオール・フォー・ワンまた僕を殺すかオールマイト
Stepping out of the shadows, the mastermind behind the League of Villains risked it all in a rematch with the Symbol of Peace, pitting the dying embers of One for All against an accumulated arsenal of stolen quirks. Pulse-pounding and inspirational, watching All Might push himself beyond his limits and nail his nemesis with the United States of Smash remains the pinnacle of this superhero slugfest of a show.
United
Number 8, Eren vs Jaw and Warhammer Titans, Attack on Titan. We can admit, we take a certain perverse enjoyment out of Eren Yeager transforming into his Titan form and eating the dude that just declared war on his people. But Willy Tiber's sister Lara, the Warhammer Titan, and the Jaw Titan Porco Galliard are less than enthused and attack the Attack Titan. With some backup from his friends, Eren fights off the two Malian Titans, with the Warhammer's remote-controlled body proving a particularly tough nut to crack. Thankfully, the Jaw Titan proves to be the perfect nutcracker. This fight may not have the speed or creativity of some of AOT's later fights, but in addition to marking the beginning of Eren's villain arc, it's undoubtedly one of the most brutal spectacles in anime. Number 7, Luffy vs Kaido, One Piece. The future Pirate King's rooftop duel with one of the four emperors is a long, drawn-out brawl. Monkey D. Luffy throws every form and technique he can at the world's strongest creature, even gaining several new ones during the fight. The animation goes to 11 and beyond throughout, and their blows split the heavens themselves, literally. Still hits Luffy's awakening of Gear 5th that had everyone's eyes popping out of their heads. Again, literally. His newfound silly reality-bending powers managed to mix some of the goofiness of classic One Piece with the hype of its latter half to create a fight unlike any other. Luffy says it himself, this is peak. Number 6. Daiguren vs AntiSpiral, Gurren Lagann.
It's a mecha battle of cosmic proportions, one that saw the will of humanity, along with their gargantuan-sized robots, battling an extinction event given form. With Nia in tow, it fell to Simon and the rest of his band of crazy rebels to prevent the AntiSpiral's single-minded goal of wiping out all life in order to halt the Spiral nemesis, which naturally led to a tussle of epic proportions, in which entire galaxies are used as arenas, and the dreams of all living things rest on the use of a giant drill. It's utter madness, and we love it.
当然だ。人間はそこまで愚かじゃない。
Number 5. Jotaro Kujo vs Dio, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders.
It took 3 generations of JoJo, a shit ton of stands, and Jotaro's unbridled badassery, but finally the vampiric nemesis of the Joestar bloodline was defeated in the most explosive way possible. While Dio's immortal body, enhanced form, and time-stopping power of the world ensured that Jotaro had to go through a whole lot of crap, he and Star Platinum still emerged the victor, all thanks to a combination of some last-second time manipulation, as well as a punch that encompassed a whole family's worth of pissed off. How's that for Muda?
Number 4. Netero vs Meruem, Hunter x Hunter.
We won't deny Gon punching Pito's face in didn't make for a series highlight, but there's just something otherworldly about the King of Chimera Ants taking on a veteran hunter with one of the most staggering Nen abilities we've ever seen. Desperate to discover his true name, Meruem takes on the full might of Netero and his 99 hands of pain.
無慈悲の方向である。
As flashy as it is frantic, just when you've recovered from the sight of seeing the Zero Hands unleashed, along comes the reveal of the Poor Man's Rose to cap off a clash between 2 giants of their species.
積んでいたのだ。
Number 3. Saitama vs Boros, One Punch Man.
There are few things that encapsulate anime hype quite like watching the world's strongest hero tussle it out with a galactic tyrant who actually makes him put in just a tad bit of effort.
手応えあった。どうやら勝敗が見えてきたな。
Exchanging blows all over a spaceship, melting everything they come into contact with, kicking Saitama into the moon, nearly eradicating the planet in a single blast, Boros was truly a cut above the rest. Of course, like everything else in life, not even his unrestricted form could measure up against Saitama's fist. Though in this instance, he certainly upped his game, courtesy of the serious punch.
必殺マジシリーズマジ殴り
Number 2. Naruto and Sasuke vs Momoshiki, Boruto, Naruto Next Generations.
一丁教えてやろうぜサスケ
Just goes to show that things do indeed get better with age, and that apparently applies to ninja as well, since years after apparently letting their children take the spotlight, shinobi frenemies Naruto and Sasuke left jaws agape as they teamed up to take down the jutsu demigod that is Momoshiki, with spectacular results. With fluid combat, dynamic teamwork, as well as a mind-boggling demonstration of just how OP these two have become since they put their teenage years behind them, this onslaught of animation might just be the singular reason for you to watch Boruto.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Goku vs Jiren, Dragon Ball Super.
Harkening back to the glory days of DBZ, while simultaneously bringing its iconic battles into the current era, there's a reason why the finale of the Tournament of Power literally broke the internet. It has everything: a killer soundtrack, Goku once again obtaining a new form that puts all others to shame via Ultra Instinct, a blistering fight that doesn't let up for a moment. All before concluding with the unexpected, yet oddly welcome sight of Goku and Frieza teaming up to best the strongest fighter Universe 11 has to offer.
Is there a century-defining anime fight we missed? Let us know in those comments below.
Backlash Wave!
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.